Everybody, we are back with another review, and today we're doing the first rendition of the Q&A on this channel. I went back about 4 months and gathered just some really cool questions that people had on videos that I didn't really get to answer maybe in the comment section, but I definitely got to see them, and I would just want to answer them here, I guess, for you guys. And I tossed in a couple cool comments that I saw in the mix of everything, going through them all and sorting through everything. So I got about 20 comments I picked out that were all questions, where people asked questions about the video that they watched or just channel related content. So those are basically the theme of all the questions that I chose today. And yeah, if you want your question or your thoughts featured on this particular channel, just leave them in the comment section below on any video on the channel. Just drop your 2 cents down there in a question form, and I'll definitely get to it and answer your question for you. So without further ado, let's hop right into the first question we got here. We're doing this old school style. It's not going to be the first rendition of this, again, not something where I'm doing really high editing on it. So first one we got was from the automatic rolling machine, the first viral video that we did. And this is from Blazin' with James Yarrington, and he asks, why are you rolling oregano, WTF? So basically, I get this question all the time. Why am I rolling oregano? Well, a lot of times I do it just basically not to stay monetized, but it's basically something where I don't have to actually put something in a video that you're watching where you, particularly where you're at, you might get in trouble for watching. So I'm not only making the content safer for everyone, but also making it safer for the viewers, myself, and pretty much anyone involved. We're using basically like a stunt plant, if you would, to do all the rolling that I did. And I started rolling oregano because I was in the middle of a move, and I was doing the automatic rolling box, and the only thing that I had that resembled the substance I was using, because originally I would use tobacco, and I stopped using tobacco and moved to oregano because it just rolled a lot better too, to be honest with you. It rolled a lot better than the tobacco. The tobacco was a little more stringy. It was a little more moist than I'm normally used to rolling with, so it wasn't really very accurate to my rendition of how I normally roll. So I moved to the oregano a little while back and been using it ever since. You can get it in large quantities and stuff, so it just resembles certain types of plants that are normally used, and you can use it basically as a stunt to weigh something out, like again, you're weighing out the Challenger cone. It's basically the same amount of product, packed it up, rolled it up, weighed it out, and it's basically the same as a normal, plant that you would smoke. So next on the list I get a lot of these comments about paper technology. This one was particularly on the 70s hustler porno papers. Paper technology, I know it's something that I talk about a lot on the channel, but basically the paper technology, it's a hilarious little thing. When we drop some merch on the channel, I'll be sure to make a shirt paper technology related, so you guys could all have a laugh at my expense. So next on the list we got and that was from Zolaris1, and then over here we got we're just gonna call you Tran for now. You had the Sam Hyde avatar. And on the 4K raw turbo tip video, the 300th upload, that was a long time ago. We're almost 800 now. How much does it cool the hit, and what's your favorite type of tip/filter? Cooling the hit, it actually does cool it rather well, because again, it's turning it on a tubular pattern, so it allows more time for cooling versus it being straight and linear. What's my favorite type of tip/filter? Me personally, I happen to just like the pre-rolled tips. I know they have a consistency of never coming unloosed on me or popping out and destroying the paper, or popping the J once the heat gets applied to the glue, which is really nice. And the ones I use are raw. I like to use the raw pre-rolled filter tips. So thanks so much, Tran, for that one. Excellent on that. Next on the list we got It's the Dead Boy from the 4K Moon pre-rolled cone video. Moon and Hornet always trash. Thanks for putting these out so people stay away from this garbage and one cone. LOL WTF. Agreed. This is just a comment that was legit. Basically, I'm glad people are noticing, like, yeah, we're talking about this stuff. This stuff is relevant. It's really affordable, so it's really easy for people to get their hands on, and I think people should have some kind of consumer knowledge in regards to that. And why the heck would you package one particular cone? I mean, that's just wild. Very wild that they did that. So next on the list, we got from Silly Pebbles. It doesn't clamp shut, dumb. And that was from the cone rolling machine. And I agree. It definitely makes it a lot harder to roll them out when it doesn't clamp shut. Definitely something that a lot of other people noticed as well. This one is from Diedrich Wilson, who asks, ever consider reviewing wheat strains? This was off the Elements Premium Rolling Tips update video. Yeah, I actually was thinking about doing something like that down the road. If not that, or some kind of consumables, or even concentrates, something like that would be something I'd be interested in doing. But it definitely would take the channel to a different level, because monetization would have to change on that. You wouldn't be able to really monetize that. So next on the list, we got Ubrax. He asked, don't you need a filter? And that was on the raw 79mm automatic rolling box. You don't actually need a filter for that rolling box. You can roll one filterless, or you can roll one with a filter. Sometimes for demonstrations, I try to keep it simple, because maybe I might want to focus on something else. Like, for example, in that video, I wanted to focus more so on the fact that it's an adjustable rolling machine where you could basically adjust the size of it. And I really wanted to focus on that more so the actual end result, which is the roll. So, Ubrax, appreciate you on that. Thanks for asking that. Next, we got DJ Lingo, who said they bought this garbage and they're dissatisfied. And that was the Empire Gold rolling papers. Now, DJ Lingo actually left that comment before I heard from the actual company Empire about, you know, the whole fiasco with their product getting ripped off, basically. So that's just hard, cold facts right there that other people probably feel the same way, but this guy was the only one who actually spoke up about it. So cheers to you, DJ Lingo. There you go. Tana White says, is it plastic? I want to order some, but I'm scared. And that's for the Honey Puff pre-rolled cone video. Now, again, I don't know if it's plastic. It sure as heck felt like a really thin film, plastic-like film, but I won't say if it's plastic or not, because I actually don't really know. But I wouldn't smoke it if I were you. Next on the list, we got the Sam Brown podcast, and he says, this is from the Solid Wood Raw Rolling Box. Anyone know if it fits king-size papers? Yeah, absolutely it does. It'll fit your king-size papers. Definitely. Next on the list, we got... Whoop. I'll have to edit that out. Yeah, we don't want to show that on there. Keep this monetized. We got the High Hemp Blazing Cherry flavored papers. And it says, why smoke a hemp wrap over, let's say, a raw hemp paper? Good question. So some people like to smoke the hemp wraps because they last a little bit longer. They tend to be a little bit more moist, and they have, again, like a little bit more run time than a normal rolling paper, which tends to be a little more drier and a little bit less run time. But some people, again, like to have that, I guess, fixation fixed, that they might have had a blunt habit before, and now they're moving over, and they might be caught in a transitional phase in between the rolling paper and, like, let's say, smoking tobacco or blunts. The wrap is a nice transitional piece, very much like how a vape is a transitional piece from smoking a cigarette. So a lot of people just like different varieties. Some people, again, I mean, me personally, I like the thinner paper. The thinner flavorless papers are the best for me, because I smoke stuff that's flavorful on the inside, so I don't need to have stuff covering it up. I don't need a harsh smoke, a heavy smoke, light smoke, thin paper, thin gum, light gum, natural everything. Let's do that. Ben Westland says, hey, is that grinder card stainless steel? And that's my, top 5 raw rolling supplies, necessities, and bonus. Yes, the grinder card is stainless steel. It is unpainted as well. And it's one of my favorite things that I recommend. If you check out my top 10 raw products that are still for sale right now, you'll see it. Again, it made the list on that one as well. It's just an amazing product. An amazing product. And then next one on the list, we got from Cashmere 420. Oh, hey, that's us. Hashtag stay lit. Oh, and that was on the Cashmere Rolling Papers review. Pretty cool. There you go. So we got Cashmere Papers. Got to see our rolling review. That's pretty awesome. You make some dope papers if you're watching this, Cashmere. I love your stuff. Very economical for a good smoke. Can't beat it. Next on the list, we got Idegan Musin asks, why would someone want to knock off raws? Like the paper and tips are, like, I guess, was that 50 pounds or 50 pence? I don't know what that is. But that's from the tip variations. People like to knock off raw because basically, not only is it a good brand, but people might just literally blind buy it based off of it looking similar to the brand. So if you're a competing interest, even if you're a foreign competing interest, and you want to knock off a company like Raw, you might get that blind buys, which is really what I think they're trying to capitalize on. People who say, oh, I smoked this paper with my friend. It looked like that. I'll just buy that. It's cheap. I'll just try it out. And then they buy it. And then that's how they get the blind buy. So that's another reason why people like to rip off people. So Jeff Stetchen says, how often do these need to be saturated? And he's asking about the raw hydrostone. Raw hydrostone basically depends on where you live, what you got it in. If it's in a humidor, you want to keep the humidity at a certain level. So basically what you want to do is you're going to want to add water and basically let it dry out, or remove the stone from the box to let it dry out a little faster, and then introduce it back in there. And you'll be able to basically see for what the environment is, or the rolling box that you particularly have, what you need to do in regards to adding water and how often you should do it. And you have like a little schedule basically. Me, where I'm at, I'm in the desert. I particularly don't add any water there. I usually use it to suck water out. I've never usually had to hydrate something out here, even though it is kind of like the desert, but it's not super dry. But definitely some places like the East Coast, along the coast, it's going to be more humid. So you're going to want to use these humidity stones and not add any water. You're going to want to use it to draw moisture. So great question. Appreciate you. Next one we got on here is Ewan McBride, who asks, how could you smoke the tobacco/weed if it's at the bottom of the bowl? Like, how would you light it if it's that deep? And he's talking about the raw Babunga wooden pipe. So basically you could use like a hemp wick, you could use a torch lighter, you could use a match to get down to the bottom. You could turn it on its side. There's multiple ways that you can get in there. There's pipe lighting techniques that you could do to get the pipe lit and get the product that's on the bottom of the pipe. But needless to say, it is possible, and we appreciate you. Thanks so much for asking that question. All right, next one we got is from Anton Michaud. We got, I love the big boobs, but is fake. And he's referring to the thumbnail on the top 70 single wide papers. Thanks so much. Appreciate all your comments. Next on the list, we got Boomer8659, who says, does it say not for resale anywhere on the packaging? Raw is the way to go. Do the burn test on them. I bet moons turn into a pile of ash and chalk. The Moon RYO scam. So actually they do not say anywhere on there not for resale. So yeah, pretty crazy. It's fine. They're just losing publicity from this channel for sure. Slappin' Hats says, why oregano on the raw automatic rolling machine? Again, I get that question a lot. But if you, the second question or the first question that I did on this Q&A should pretty much answer that. But basically it's a large amount of product that I can use as like stunt product when I'm rolling up like large cones. But originally it happened because I was in the middle of a move and I didn't have access to the tobacco I normally was using to roll with, and I just chose oregano because it just seemed like something I could roll out of the spice cabinet that we had unpacked, and yeah, it just worked and the video went viral. So next on the list we got Cy on the Beat, who asks, I like how the logo says danger, and he's referring to the Hornet logo. I do too. I like how at least they're, what is it, hiding in plain sight type of thing. All right, next on the list we got Super Glide Fletch. It says raw backwards is war. Interesting. Pretty cool. That was just a funny comment that I decided to throw in there. And then next we got on the list is Stay Humble asks, so you can pull on the flint like a regular lighter? Hoping you would have talked about that. And he's talking about the flint on the raw clipper cork lighter, and yes, you can pull on it. It's the same thing as all the other type of lighters, only it has a cork wrap around it. So think of that when you're going into the purchase. Next, we got Mythicize asks, if you had to pick one celebrity or historical figure to smoke with, who would you choose? And he was asking about the Raw Supernatural 12-inch foot-long cone. If I could smoke with one celebrity, I smoke it up with Leon Lush. We'll roll up that 12-inch foot-long cone and get blazed. So there you go. Leon Lush, Mythicize. Next we got on the list is from Vermilion, who asks, is that bald Elon Musk in the thumbnail? And on the Rizzler Green, I did a thumbnail with, basically it was Joe Rogan's body with Elon Musk's face over, superimposed, photoshopped obviously over Joe Rogan's body, because it was like during that podcast time. I tried to, sometimes I'll throw relevant stuff to whenever I made the thumbnail into the thumbnail. It might not necessarily have any relevance to the video, but like the day that I uploaded that might have been the day I think he went on his podcast. So I did like a slam bam of the two of them on the same thumbnail. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, we got next on the list is Powder Blue 29. Why don't you say herb or flower or weed? Plant particulate. This was on the turbo tip. Basically, because I'm talking about plant particulate because it covers anything that you could be smoking. And little plant particulate is really what I was referring to in that video. I do remember now what you're referring to. It's when I was talking about the plant material being pulled through the tip and hitting and tickling the back of your throat, or like getting in your mouth. So plant particulate is really just anything that you could be smoking in there, and any type of small particles that could be getting in your mouth, on your teeth, or tickling the back of your throat. That's basically where I was going with on that. And it doesn't necessarily need to be these things on the front. It's just plant particulate, because all those things are plants, you know what I mean? So next on the list, and last on the list, is from Jordan Sims. Great video, man. Not sure why Raw loves aluminum so much. Is it cheaper? And he's referring to the pollen press video that we did. And I really don't know why some of the stuff that Raw does is aluminum and some of it's stainless steel. Like the grinder card, for example, is all stainless steel. They did a great job with designing that, but then they came out with like a standard aluminum grinder. The aluminum grinder is garbage. I would never recommend using the Raw aluminum grinder. It didn't make it into my worst video just because it's not really something they revolutionized. It's just something that they put their brand on. And I don't know. I don't recommend that particular grinder at all. I don't recommend any aluminum grinder, to be honest with you. But I think it's cheaper. It's got to be cheaper in regards to the manufacturing of it, because a lot of the stuff they could just already buy. It's already created, and they just throw their brand on it, and then now it's a Raw grinder. You know what I mean? So that being said, yeah, the more heavier materials are a little more costly, but they tend to be a little more healthy with your particular product. So if you like this video, you like this Q&A, we went through a whole bunch of them here. We could do this again. We'll go back through and we'll answer some more questions. I'll grab together a bunch of questions. I mean, there was a ton more, but these are just some of the ones I kind of wanted to touch on that I didn't really kind of get to in the comment section. And didn't get to really answer firsthand. So I kind of want to touch on these in an actual live video. So anyway, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want more content like this, subscribe for more. I do smoking reviews every single day, so be on the lookout for that, and have a great rest of your day.